cabins. What do we get? Increased stun threshold. You know.
May the darkness spare you.
Wow. What trash. What trash. I'm not even gonna give that the dignity of being kept. Wow, that was rough. I'm not selling that fucking gem. The same guy every time? Like, get a hint, dude. Sounded like somebody dropped a glass. Yeah, I pretty much could. I'm trying to like avoid picking stuff up because like I know that's where I'm at in the league. Other than currency, like I really need like a late. I really need for myself like a late league filter. It's just like the currencies that I want to interact with. Because like Never Sinks 5 hides like the low level like emblem splinters and like breach fragments, and like as long as I'm running maps, like if there's a breach, even if it's a Zoff, I want to pick it up. I want to pick up the fragments. Like I don't care. So basically what I need is like one that's like not as stingy about that, but hides just about every other item. And like I went looking the other day thinking like, oh, I'll tweak one of these and make my own filter. And then I was like, you know, yeah. And then I was like, you know, I'd have to tweak some things and then load it up in game and then tweak some things. And I was like, that's too much effort. It's easier to just hold Alt when I'm in a breach if I don't see any fragments, because I'm like, oh, they must be a low fragment that's not showing. I don't want this ritual. The ice beams kind of scare me. Yeah. Loosely based on pricing. Ooh, a divine vessel. Look at that. Rich beyond measure.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Ah, get out of there. Like that. I don't need to pick that up. I just can't help myself. First step's admitting you have a problem. Where are we at? We're at... I need 3 more. So I've got them. I just have to run a couple other maps. It doesn't really matter what they are, I just need to run them to get the boss. How many more do I need? We are at what, 7 of 10? Okay, so these 3 ought to do it. I really should, like, even though I want to grab the Sanctum while I'm in here and do the Abyss, I really am tempted to just be like, boss rush it. I do think it's funny that as much as I talk about why I put on the, you know, cast without moving toggle, that I didn't have it turned on and I almost died in Gauntlet because of it. Like that's one of the things I talk about almost every league start, but you know, it's the little things. We went to a rock climbing place in high school, and they were talking about like safety and like going through the procedure, like when you clip on and stuff. And they were talking about like there was this climber, and had done a lot of you know, a lot of climbs, and was climbing and went up and went to sit in their harness and like take a rest, and had just never tied on, and just down they went. Like, what a surprise that would have been. And like, this is where like I'm kind of weird. Like, you think they were like, son of a bitch. Like, what a way to go. Like I mean, anybody who's watched those idiot surgeons at Seattle Grace on Grey's Anatomy knows that, like, mistakes happen. We, my wife and I are, like, you know, victim viewers of that. Like, hostage viewers, I guess. I don't know what the right way to call it is, but, like, you know, we've watched 17 seasons or whatever it is, so we kind of feel like, you know, we kind of have to stick it out. But like the last episode, not this week's episode, but last week's episode was like the titular character Meredith Grey's last episode. And I was like, I thought she was like staying, like she was happy to stay until, you know, forever. And I was like, I guess it changed. And I was like, is it weird? It's kind of like when you find out a show you're enjoying was canceled that you haven't finished yet, and you're like, yeah, I don't even care how the story wraps up now. Like, I don't even care how season 3 wraps up if there's no season 4. Like, that's kind of how I feel. Like, now that I know she's leaving, I'm like, nah, I don't even need to watch her exit. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, Like, because you refuse to take that show off the air at an appropriate time, I've basically wasted 17 years of my life as all the storylines that were worth watching you've ground into the ground and just made utter bullshit. I can't think of a single storyline that I was like, yeah, this is really cool, and they didn't later go, oh yeah, well, you know, if the show's going to continue, it's kind of like, you know, the Saved by the Bell problem. Like, well, we can't have Zach and Kelly together all the time. Like, if they're together, then where's the drama for the show? Like, and it's like, no, that's... Find other like, they work at a hospital. Make the shows about the medicine again, like they used to. The show hasn't been about medicine for like 7 seasons. It gives me agitation. Well, and like I'm used to putting up with garbage writing. Like I spent my formative years watching soap operas with my mom, and so like I'm used to putting up with some bullshit. Well, yeah. At some point, they're like, you know what? We've already done all the interesting medical stuff I could find easily. Let's just have a bunch of people profess their undying love for each other and then immediately go have sex with other people and ruin their lives. That'll be fun to watch a dozen times over. We can repeat that story every season. Ugh. If you're gonna like, it's like, you should just stop watching after season 6. Like, watch the first 6 seasons. I don't know if this is a show that you don't want spoiled, or if you know anything about it, Silfairy, but you know, watch the first 6 seasons. Something tragic happens at the end of the 6th season. Imagine that happens and they had to close the hospital after it. And there just was no more show after that. And like, the sad thing is the show has gone on for another 11 seasons past what you could just count as an end of the show. Like, there's been 11 more seasons. The show has now had more seasons, I think, without Patrick Shepard, or Patrick Dempsey's Derek Shepard, than it had with Derek Shepard. Like, I forget what season they killed him off. But like, you know? And then Meredith was just finding happiness with a guy, and they were like, oh, well, this other actor that the actress who plays Meredith, you know, had good chemistry with and wanted to be the character that they wrote a love story with, he wasn't available then, and he is now, so we're just gonna dump this other love story in the trash that you've recently become invested in. And yeah, we don't give a shit if you're annoyed by that. It's like, God damn it. Like, come on. Like, I'm not saying that like the guy they switched to wasn't a better fit, but like, he hadn't worked out and I as a viewer had moved on, and I was like, oh, this guy will work. And then they were like, yeah, no, we're just gonna unceremoniously toss him aside. And then they had her fuck up the new relationship. can. I can. I grew up watching soap operas, and the one firm rule was that there were things called power couples. And you could pull them apart, but they always had to be able to get back together again. You can't do that when you start killing people off. Like, I argue that the biggest weakness of the final few seasons of Glee is after Corey Monteith overdosed and killed himself with drugs, they didn't recast the character. Because they were like, oh, well, the female lead who was his character's love interest, they were dating in real life, and it would be awkward. And I was like, yeah, well, for the rest of us that enjoy the television show, we want her with that character. And I don't know that you could have made it work if you recasted, but, like, certainly didn't make it work without recasting. Like... I mean, not to put my interest as a viewer above the real life and death struggles of somebody with addiction, but, like, you know, that's how it interfaces with my life, so that's the touch point that I have, right? Does that make me a bad person? I don't think so. Oh boy. 3 more maps after this? Well, a Maven invitation and 3 more maps, and then we're at 38 out of 40. And then I may do Sanctum grinds for some of those things, but I don't know. I don't want to burn out on PoE, and I don't want to burn out like on the genre, and I've played so much, and like I've had such focus that like if I move into the idea of something just being a grind, I mean, I'm glad I did Gauntlet, but Gauntlet really took a lot out of me in that sense. Like, you know, and I kind of want to try Ruthless, you know, because, you know, mystery boxes are cool. But, I don't know, a mystery box isn't worth it if I'm going to feel like I'm burning out. And from what I've heard, like, the item scarcity, even with gold, right? And just vibes. So, like, if the vibe isn't there, we'll play something else. I always end up hopping in like the last week of League and playing quite a bit because like I'm brainstorming new characters or practicing League launches or, you know. And with as much time as left, like I could get to 38 out of 40, take a full like 2-week break and still have time to come back and play more. Like there's still a lot of time left. Juicy legacy here. Yeah, I might in there. Who knows? I'm trying to think what I have. I think I have some recombinators, which I think they allowed you to keep. Unlike, you know, all the relics and stuff are getting deleted. A murderous eye jewel. Too bad it's not a Monomu. Techrod's gaze. Yeah, I don't think very many people use murderous eye jewels. I didn't think you could get those just from regular stuff, but that wasn't even a lich. I thought the gazes dropped from liches, but I guess they're just a high value abyss drop, so they could drop from anywhere.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Make this worth my time. You will years. On to the next fight.
Oh, I already have one of those. All right, cool. But no apothecary.
Mortal flesh is so fallible. Handle this. A moment for my light. Another challenger takes this vitality boon. Handle this. Mortal flesh is so fallible. What's the effort?
Clang. One crescent splinter.
Animal combatives.
Oh man, what? I need 3 more of them. I really need to roll one that's not ashen wood. Because, like, I don't want to run all those maps. What do I have a ton of? I have a lot of strand. We can make this happen. Hold on. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. You gotta be kidding me. This one has 8, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. There we go. That can be our 3. Oh, I didn't see your comment, but it's all good. We'll just blast through these maps. I'm not even gonna put the Abyss Scarabs in right now because I just wanna. Blast this. Like, I almost think, like, maybe if I didn't do Abyss, I mean, I like the extra experience. And maybe if I just ran those Scarabs and didn't worry about trying to juice a whole bunch of mechanics at once, I almost think I could just, like, Strand, because it's straight, if I was gonna, like, put my head down and just see what, you know, just kind of vibe out and whatever happens, happens. I might switch all my city squares to Strand. Because even though there are probably better maps, I just like that this one's very straightforward. I don't have to think. I can just be like talking to somebody or listening to a podcast. And aside from like cannot regenerate, I can almost roll them with whatever I want. Could have been a divine orb. Like I can almost just alch and go. Well, like I've been playing since what, like just before midnight? It's been what? 2 hours, 2.5 hours pretty much. It's been 2.5 hours and I've gained like what? A quarter of a level? I just don't know that I have it in me. Right? That's true. Just kind of remove the risk. Because you're not really, it's not even like you're doubling your time by running them blue. Like, the amount of pack size you get from running them yellow and the amount of experience you get, like, I don't know how many maps you'd be saving yourself. I do think if I start with a good plan for attacking next league with a strong character with good defenses, you know, if the league is fun and the challenges are good, like, you know, we'll see how far I get level wise. I do think I'm due for a league. Like, I wouldn't be surprised though if next league I run 1, maybe 2 characters to maps, dabble in the end game, and then go, yeah, that was fun. Because like between the way I resonated with the Sanctum mechanic, and then also like even if all my friends from even if all our friends from the guild, like you said, you're gonna have to back down a little bit. Like, even if all the other guys that from my D&D friend, like even if they all play a lot at launch, you know, it's gonna be like a second league where they do that. You know, it'd be kind of like streaming, really. Like, you know. Wow, it would still be enjoyable. That excitement of it being like your first 50 followers that get you to affiliate, you know, it's just a little different, you know, which is, you know, that's just the nature of life. That's not to get philosophical, but like, that's not anybody's fault. So, but most of them have said they're, you know, they could see themselves, you know, coming back every league and at least running up a character or two. I think for me, one of the things is like I struggle a lot with, yeah. Well, struggle might be a heavy word. I mean, I think I have my own battles with like anxiety and depression, but like there are people who have it worse. But that doesn't, you know. But I try to keep my eye on the idea too that like, well, that doesn't delete your experience. Like you're allowed to, if you think it's difficult for you, you're allowed to say so. But I think one of the things I really like about, you know, why I gravitate towards the the campaign side is that little dopamine drip of like, you know, leveling up and getting the money for those gear pieces and stuff. You know, at the beginning of the league, there's always something interesting happening, and it's like you're always ticking off little goals. It's the same reason I like, you know, like mobile games and stuff. It's little dopamine drips. You did something today. Good for you. And it's like, yeah, I did.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
So, well, and I'm hopeful, you know, I'm hopeful that, you know, as a channel, you know, I think I'm going to start leaning into, at least, you know, I don't know how you hype it this way, but like, you know, at least in sort of the channel bio, and, you know, I think I can say without, you know, without saying it's, without hyperbolizing and without, you know, over-aggrandizing, you know, I'm starting to come to grips with the idea that, like, I can count myself as, like, a top-tier player. You know, like, I'm not just somebody who plays a lot of PoE. Like, I've demonstrated in some of the event leagues that, like, you know, I can hang at that high level, you know. You know, my theory crafting isn't as high as some people, but I think my understanding of, like, you know, avoiding attacks and self-preservation are pretty good, because, like, a lot of people that I talk to that, you know, are familiar with PoE, like, I start talking about, like, what I need to do to, like, improve my life for, like, tier 16 maps or whatever. And, like, they're like, man, I usually have more life than that when I kill Katava in Act 10. Like, you know, what do we got here? Oh, it's tech rods again. Son of a biscuit. Got it twice. I don't think there's 50 monsters inside. I think we missed some monsters somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
You strong to hold my attention.
Right. I mean, I went through a phase where I could more easily do that. And now, like, I've got, like, I feel like I've got, like, parent brain most of the time. From, you know, almost a decade now of being home with my kids. That, like, a lot of days it's just mush up here. So, like, that's why I'm able to retain a lot. Like, I'm able to retain the width of knowledge. It's the depth that, you know, it starts to get, you know, I can get there, you know. You know, it is still the same brain that completed its master's thesis, you know, like, the gears still turn, just a little bit slower these days. And sometimes you gotta poke the hamster a little bit. Right? So, but yeah, no, I would hope, you know, not that the league's over yet, but, you know, since I'm kind of feeling reflective about the league as we work on this sort of last gold challenge that we're, you know, the last challenge that we have as a goal, a concrete goal. You know, one of the things that I would hope for next league is, you know, we gotta, the other thing that was really exciting is like a lot of the guys from that D&D group had been thinking about it, but because like, you know, I felt a little bit responsible for, you know, giving them a little push into doing it. And then we had a couple members of the community like, you know, Sagara and Shendratha who like talked about like, you know, this was their first league, I think, both of them. And in large part, like coming from Pumpkin streams, because I'd raid Pumpkin, and it's like, what were you playing? Oh, Path of Exile, and I'd talk about it, and they're like, oh, it sounded interesting from all the talking you did. You know? Yay! But yeah, so like if the you know, if the community can continue to like slowly grow, you know, and I get like, that's what I've always wanted. And it does not like even growth like in terms of numbers, but what I've always wanted from streaming is just doing something as, you know, showing a game that I'm passionate about and having other people go, wow, that does look cool. Do I have chaos damage support in here? I don't think I do. There's not really room for it. Oh boy, look at that. And these aren't out of the realm of possibility. Honestly, I should write these down so that if I see them, I can just take them without any question. What do I need? I need 4 more of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 10 left. I need 4 of them. These two will be tricky. This one is surprisingly hard. Not so much because of what the afflictions do to your run, but like just getting... Yeah. Mostly just, I think, getting 15 afflictions is hard. Like, let alone completing a sanctum once you have them. You know? The difficulty that having 15 afflictions gives you. Ironically, this is not my favorite cosmetic league. I mean, it's cool and all, but
My regards.
if I was gonna look at things that I like, I really liked the iridescent stuff. In that league, and then I did get a helmet in Ultimatum. I got a pet in Ultimatum. I thought I had a, yeah, I think the scavenger bat was a scourge thing as well. They used to give pets a little more often. That would be cool. I really like Ultimatum, because even though it's still the how much damage can you put out, it's not, I don't remember it being timed, but like, I liked the risk reward. You know, I think for me, Ultimatum could almost replace Ritual, or you could swap them out. Like some leagues, like, you know, oh hey, this league we're going to be bringing Ritual back, you know, and this league we're going to be doing Ultimatum. Like, I wouldn't necessarily mind that. I know the pool of items in Ritual, you know, is really cool, But like league rotations would be one thing so that they don't have to creep so much. The only problem with league rotations is it fucks up this whole Atlas skill tree that they've got going. And I really like the Atlas skill tree, and it would be a huge barrier for entry, I think, for players if they were like, you know, unless you just said like, okay, unless you got it to the place where it's like the swaps are a standard set of swaps. Oh, hey, Maestro-chan. The swaps are a standard set of swaps so that, like, you know, Ultimatum literally replaces Ritual. It's in the same spots and everything. I liked Ultimatum. Yeah, it wouldn't need to rotate everything, you know? And they wouldn't have to rotate it either, but, like, this is gonna get crowded. If you put in Ultimatum and it goes in the tree, you need 3 or 4 wheels for it. If Sanctum goes in the tree, you need 3 or 4 wheels for that. Like, I worry about how complex this will get. But I liked Ultimatum. I hope it comes back. I'm really annoyed that the only thing we have for it right now is, you know, if you're really committed, you can track down the parts to fight the Ultimatum boss. But the actual mechanic I liked. You only just came back to the game recently. Maestro-chan, I think this was the best league. This was the best league I've ever played. And I've been playing since the end of Heist League on PC, like in earnest. I played some leagues on PC or on PS4 going back to Synthesis League. And maybe the end of Metamorph League. But like not like with knowing what I was doing. And I created a character like back when the game launched, so I have one old character, but I didn't get very far. But like this league between Sanctum, which I really enjoyed as a mechanic, because I play a lot of roguelites, so I liked the failing forward, and I liked what it did from a, like, a lot of people hated the resolve mechanic. If they hated Sanctum, a lot of it was the resolve, because they said, well, it ignores your defenses. Well, no, I mean, it does, but it's playing Path of Exile without, like, thinking about not even worrying about your defenses, like, playing it purely as, like, the action part of action RPG. Literally dodging attacks and learning attack patterns, you know, the Soulsborne side of things. And that's what I enjoy out of Gauntlet. Like, Gauntlet's super challenging, and that forces you to, like, dig in and learn, like, where attacks are, listening for audio cues, all that stuff. So, but, like, that's one of the things I really liked about it. Why am I glowing? Did I select a... Did I turn on a thing? Oh, I turned on the Victorious armor skin. Maybe I always had that on. I don't know. For this character, I don't remember. Oh, that's fancy. You haven't even made it to the 4th floor yet. It's tricky. I will grant you that it's tricky. It's definitely easier on some builds. SRS, you know, totems, mines, things with indirect damage where you can really focus on the enemies. Once you start getting some relics though, like I've been throwing a ton away. I've got like full sets on multiple characters. So I started Popcorn. I did Popcorn SRS as like sort of my second character. I league started Seismic. I made a Volcanic Fissure strength stacking totem build that was hilarious, but you couldn't see anything. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was fill the screen with fire. But unlike some builds that fill the screen with crap, it didn't have the defenses to survive, and I didn't enjoy it enough to want to work out the defenses, so I sold everything from it. And then I converted my Popcorn SRS, which were really strong. Like I think I had like plus 580% minion life. I did the poison conversion, So I bought everything. I spent like 15 divines or 18 divines. Got the sword, the thing, the Aegis, all the gems, the Green Nightmare, Amanamu's Gaze. I went all in. And honestly, I was a little disappointed. It didn't feel necessarily a whole lot better than Popcorn SRS, and it was a lot more expensive than Popcorn SRS. I will say I was doing this afternoon on stream, I ran like, what was it, Silpharia, like 8 or 9 Maven invitations. I ran 4 Sirius fights. Ran like 7 Screaming invitations and 2 Exarch invitations. And it does pinnacle bossing well because the poison stacks up. I don't know that it does it. The benefit it has over Popcorn, I would say, is that like in some of those pinnacle bosses, not having to worry about respawning your SRS all the time because they're not like actively dying, makes it a little stronger. So, but it's pretty beefy. So I still have some like Shaper and Elder that we could do. Didn't go well, so that's about as far as you got. Okay. I might still do these. Hey, thank you for the follow. Oh, there it is. I was worried it might be broken again. So I might run through these, like, I might do it off stream now that I'm basically. I just now hit 38 out of 40, which is higher than I thought I'd get. I might push for these off stream, but I put in twice as many hours this league as any other league, and I love PoE and I want it to stay that way. So next week I'll probably go back to Bannerlord or go back to Monster Hunter Rise for a bit, and yeah, so, but I'm excited. I'm sad Sanctum's not going core yet, they say. I understand a little bit. I understand the power creep angle the most, because there was some broken stuff in there. I don't think the rewards in terms of like currency, like, so what, you were able to get some divines, like the 1% were able to get a ton. The rest of us, 32 maps to get through all 4 floors, and maybe you average, you know, 2.5 divines per 4 floor attempt. And 32 maps is what? If you're blazing fast, like an hour and a half, 2 hours of maps. Most high tier players get a divine an hour anyways when they're grinding high tier maps. So like, I think that's a much ado about nothing. Yeah, you got most of yours from the broken ass harvest thing. I expect that to get a nerf. Silpharia over here farmed himself a mage blood just by doing the harvest technique. Now I will say at least it has a whole bunch of startup cost, but like that leads to this whole rich get richer problem.
Good day.
You know. So, but yeah, my main that I was just running when you came in, Maestro, is this Hexblast miner that is really fun and unfortunately is basically dead since they're not taking Sanctum stuff core. I don't think they're deleting items. They're deleting all the relics and sanctified relics and invocations, but they're not deleting the uniques. So, yay. Yay there. But cherry pick some of these out of here and throw them away. Oh, that's right, because you were able to take on Uber Maven, so you were able to get some really good Awaken gems, and you were doing it early enough that, like, they were still selling well. That's half of making, like, almost all of making currency in a league is literally just knowing the pacing and being able to provide what the market is ready to buy.
Good day.
Like, I definitely see myself doing Abyss, particularly those, whoop, not that one, into the bin. Well, that's true, yeah. Because you did the 100 grind on your standard, that's right. You're a madman. A madman! But yeah, I definitely could see myself at a league start. Essences, I think, are good until you get into, like, yellow or red, and then they start killing you, and it's not worth it. But about that time, you've come through the middle. I definitely think this is worth it early because you need those Kirak missions for Atlas completion. But then I think I would, before even maybe going up here for the shrines, although I do like the shrines, I think I'm going to sprint over here to the Abyss stuff, because getting this +3 Lightless Legion and the depths, like, when if I was providing, like, you know, 85 plus gear super fast. I don't know if I would come over here for all the way over here for the scarabs. And like, I probably would wait on harvest. I don't usually cancel stuff early in the league. Honestly, I might pop up and get this essence node, and then instead of going all the way up the middle, come through the syndicate stuff. Like, come through, grab this, go up here, maybe pop down and grab these 3 for the early syndicate juice. Because unless they kill Devouring Diadem, you know, rushing early syndicates, you know, gonna be good. Plus, getting those unveils early is a huge power bonus. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna ignore the metamorph juicing that I did last league. It was kind of fun, and like, for the first time ever, I have more catalysts than I know what to do with, but I didn't really use them. Like, I mean, I didn't even put them on my belt yet. I don't know what I would put on there, but, you know. Oh, excuse me. So, I mean, Blight, I think this is the problem. There's so much stuff that's good, and you have to have a plan because you don't want to spec into all of it. I think for the middle tree range, like, before you're ready to get into, like, tier 16s where you can actually benefit from, like, I think when you're ready, you need to be able to point into Conqueror maps, Remnants of the Past, maybe even Vivid Memories, like, getting all those early so that you get those enriched map drops. That's real useful. But I think when you're in the middle here, like, before you're ready to, like, you know, dive into altars and all this stuff, I think maybe the tree is going to look something like over here for Atlas and over here for Blight. Do I want to try out the Infinite Harvest? Yeah, I mean, I might need you to walk me through it offline, or, you know, something. But I might be interested in, like, running a couple maps with it and seeing what it's like. I think the Hexblast miner is fast enough to do it. I think I'm getting ready for bed though. So if you were thinking that might be a tonight activity, like, oh, when was that? 25 minutes ago? So super rippy. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. We'll see. All right, I think I'm gonna hop off, everybody. Maestro Chan, it was great getting to meet you. Thanks for saying hello. Anybody on for a raid? Not really. I'll just say goodnight. We'll see you back on Monday morning. Hopefully nobody's sick. If I have sick kids or the kids are off from school, we push to the afternoon. That's just how it works now. So stay safe, stay healthy. Hey, Pumpkin, you're lurking back there. How you doing, bud? Stay safe, stay healthy. We're gonna play games, share stories, make memories, build your very own legacy of gaming. Which way do I turn it for the light? There we go. Bye-bye.